It doesn't get any closer.
Last year, it was a Winston Cup war. Ernie Irvin's early lead got pushed in the dirt, but Ernie clawed back, then got loose, yielded to the man in black. In the end, Ricky Rudd's late race spin cycle laundered Earnhardt and gave Ricky his first win as an owner. It's the Winston Cup Slick 5300 today, 1 p.m., noon Central on TNN Motorsports.
Last week in Daytona, the final lap kind of summed up the whole first half of the season so far. The 7-time champion versus the young upstart. In the end, the youngster won this battle. But will he win the season-long war? Is this the year that youth overcomes experience? Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, the youngster is starting deep in the pack today. He's sandwiched in the middle of Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt in the Winston Cup point standings. Hottest guy on the circuit still, though. 33% of the laps he's led, or 35% of the miles, Jeff. But you're starting way back after winning 7 poles. You're 21st today. What happened in qualifying?
Well, I was just trying to take about a 5th qualifying car to the pole, and you know, I took it on the edge like I do every weekend, and got a little bit too far over the edge, got a little loose, and got the right rear into the wall. And, you know, we had to work real hard, but that just shows how tough this team is. They bounced back. We came back yesterday, had a good run. We were fastest yesterday, starting 21st here, but you know, it's 300 laps, but that's a long time around this place. Hopefully we can get up to the front.
Okay, no doubt about it. All eyes will be on him as he marches toward the front today. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Randy. If youth is Jeff Gordon, which it is, then experience is this man, Dale Earnhardt. And this guy has won 7 crowns. I don't think that he's quite ready to give it up yet. Those young guys been running good, but you still got a lot of racing left in you.
Well, we hope we have. Feel like we got several more years anyway, Glenn. You know, it's real competitive. And, you know, a guy with a talent like Gordon comes in here with a good equipment, and he can win races. But still, we feel like we can win some more championships, some more races ourselves, and we're looking forward to the future. Not ready to start our own team, like you said this morning on TV on race day, but we're gonna look down the road to maybe owning one someday when I'm ready to retire, 10 or so years.
Well, the report that I made on race day this morning has been emphatically and categorically denied by both Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt. I stand corrected. I hang my head in humble apology. Is that good enough? Okay. Now, the plights of both Gordon and Earnhardt this year have only been 2 of the major stories in a year that's been chock full of interesting developments.
TNN Motorsports presents live coverage of the Slick 5300 from the Magic Mile of Loudon, New Hampshire. And it is jam-packed with race fans. They've been arriving here since Thursday. They sat through rain yesterday, but today the temperature is in the mid-70s and the humidity is some 30 points cooler than it was, or rather lower than it was yesterday afternoon. Welcome to the Granite State, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. This racetrack, since they began holding Winston Cup racing on this 1-mile flat oval, has always favored the driver who could best adjust on his car throughout the day and take advantage of increasingly slick track conditions. Well, the top of the Winston Cup standings, that's increasingly slick as well. 3 drivers are an unprecedented just 16 points apart here at the midpoint of the season, as we see in our Texaco Haviland point standings. So, what to expect from this, the midpoint race in the season? To my colleagues, Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin. Buddy, what kind of race do you look for today?
3 wide down the front straightaway, double wide in the corners. There's a new sealer on the bottom side of the racetrack, but it does not bother the competition. Great racing all day.
Ernie, the drivers did not get a last practice session yesterday. Was there a lot of guesswork in the garage this morning?
Well, there was a lot of guesswork, but they did have a practice right before it started raining yesterday afternoon, and you know, there was about 15 or 20 cars that could run the same speed. I think that it's going to be the most competitive race we've ever seen here at New Hampshire.
Well, it's certainly the most competitive point battle. Let's go down to the point leader and Randy Pemberton.
Well, Sterling Marlin will sit 31st on this grid today. He has 2 Winston Cup victories, the best average finisher of the Winston Cup season so far with an 8.33. Sterling, you're deep in the field. We've already talked about this track changing a lot during the day. Are you guys ready for that, and can you get to the front?
Well, we've changed a bunch on it this morning, and a lot of cars did what in the last practice, and we're just going to go give it our best shot and see what happens. We've got some adjustments we can make and whatever we have to do, so we should be in pretty good shape, I think.
Okay, good luck, Sterling. Well, Sterling Marlin got to come from deep in the pack, but he has a lot of company back here. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace starting just inside the top 20. Well, we'll be back with live coverage from the Slick 50 300 right after this.
You see a heavy cloud cover over New Hampshire International Speedway. It'll keep it cool on these thousands of fans. 22 acres of new parking. Bob Bear added for this weekend. It is all full, and these grandstands are all packed. Here's the AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. 41 cars in today's field for the 300 lap, 317 mile distance. Rusty Wallace is the race record holder, set 2 years ago. Pit strategy as they roll off the starting grid. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, the cars are just now rolling away, and the strategy so far, everybody, as you guys said earlier on, was a little bit concerned about what to do to their cars. Everybody, that is, except Martin Martin, they were fast right from the get-go, made very few changes on the cars. We can look for about 85 to 100 laps on fuel, and they also say that the tires will last that long too. So really the fuel stop and the tire window should be about the same today. Depends on how the things shake out. It'll be a little skitterish starting out. The cars will skate a little bit because of the soft rubber that was left down from the modified in the Busch North race yesterday, which finished up last night. So look for the guys to sort things out a little bit early on, but nobody really made a lot of major chassis adjustments or changes that I talked to. By the way, this is the same tire that the Busch cars ran last week at Milwaukee, similar type racing surface. So I really look for Dale Jarrett to have a good day. They've got the same type setup under their car. A lot of good guys on flat tracks here today. This is going to be a heck of a show, Mike.
Thanks, Glenn. Let's have a look at the starting lineup. Mark Martin, new track record. His Valvoline Ford is on the pole. Robert Presley in the Skoll Chevrolet, his best qualifying effort outside row 1. Row number 2, Joe Nemechek also has his best start of the season. And Bill Elliott has his first top 5 start of the year. Bobby Labonte, the winner at Charlotte and Michigan in row 3. And Rick Mass, second top 10 start for Rick this year. Ricky Rudd is the defending champion of this race, and Kyle Petty, who won at Dover last month, that's row 4. Michael Waltrip, 8th in the points, and Ken Schrader in row 5. Row 6, Morgan Shepherd, 6th here last year, and Dick Trickle had a strong run in Daytona last week. Row 7, Terry Labonte, the winner in Richmond and Pocono, and Dale Jarrett. Row number 8, Jeremy Mayfield, and Hut Strickland, who has 3 top 10s in the last 5 races since joining Kenny Bernstein's team. Ted Musgrave, 4th in the point standings, and last year's runner-up here, Dale Earnhardt. Ricky Craven won yesterday's Busch North race, and Rusty Wallace, who won the first Slick 50 300 here. Jeff Gordon, fastest second-round qualifier, and Jeff Bodine. Derek Cope, looking for his first win since 1990, and Dave Marcus starts his 776th Winston Cup race today. Elton Sawyer in the Junior Johnson Ford, and Bobby Hamilton has 5 top 10s this year. Ward Burton and Todd Bodine, who was 5th here last season. John Andretti and Jeff Burton, who made his Cup debut 2 years ago here. Sterling Marlin, the point leader, is deep in the field, and Darrell Waltrip. Rich Bickle with the Dick Brooks Felix Sabates team, and Steve Grissom, who had a 5th at Wilkesboro this year. Mike Wallace makes his second New Hampshire start. Blake Speed, who was 8th in Charlotte. Bobby Hillen Jr. and Jimmy Hensley makes his second start for Bill Davis. Brett Bodine, qualifying troubles. We'll fill you in on that later on. And Jimmy Spencer looks for his first win since almost a year ago. And Chuck Bound, twice a runner-up here in Busch Series competition. Chevrolet Corvette pace car leads them around. And they have been running a lap at the pit road speed since they didn't get to do so yesterday afternoon.
In the middle of 1 and 2, they say the lead is.
Riding with Sterling Marlin and telling him about a piece of debris out on the racetrack in turn number 2. You saw the track truck there to go pick it up. There's the roof cam on the Morgan McClure Kodak Chevrolet. And out the rear window, Sterling Marlin's car, and out the right side window as well, looking across at Darrell Waltrip. We'll be on the pole with Mark Martin in the Valvoline Cummins diesel Ford of Jack Roush, both inside and up top on the roof cam, and out the right side window of Mark's car as well. And Dave Marcus, the Olive Garden Prodigy Computer Service Chevrolet, starting 24th today. Dave told me this morning he will not have Ward Burton in his car next year, as Glenn was also emphatically told. He intends to drive it himself next season once again. So we'll give you a ride. We'll also be able to talk to Dave Marcus today, thanks to our Racing Electronics in-car radios.
Mike, you see how fast they're running under the caution here. What they're doing is seating in the brakes. They didn't have time yesterday to run the brakes in, so they're running a little bit faster than normal going down the back straightaway. You can see they're running about 100 miles an hour, seating the brakes in for the start of the race.
We'll have another new view to show you today. We'll be up on the roof to the right of our broadcast position. You are looking from the hat of Buddy Red Dog Barnes. He is the spotter from for John Andretti, the Kmart Little Caesars Cranifus Haas Ford, number 37, and you'll see what he is looking at as he gives instruction to John, and you'll be able to hear those instructions as John Andretti there moves around the speedway. There's Andretti's Ford, and Buddy Barnes checking things out. Don't look at those grandstands, Buddy.
Oh, that's a nice grandstand. By the way, congratulations to Ernie Irvin. He's up here with us today in the booth. He went to Bristol and helped set up his truck, and they won their first race there in Bristol with Joe Ruttman driving. And thanks to Ernie, they had a super ride there.
I tell you, thanks to Joe, he really drove the wheels off that thing, and it was a lot of fun. I've been to Victory Lane before at Bristol, and this was special too.
Well, silly season begins the second half of the season. 22 Fords, 14 Chevys, 5 Pontiacs. There will not be that 6th Pontiac in Winston Cup racing. At least it won't be out of the Ricky Rudd stable. He announced this weekend that he had talked to the folks in Pontiac, but Rudd's tied team will stay with Ford next year. That puts one rumor to rest. Gosh, there are a lot of them flying about what will happen next year to drivers, car owners, crew chiefs, lots of folks in this sport. There's Jack Roush, who owns the pole-sitting car of Mark Martin and the 4th place point-standing car of Ted Musgrave. Yesterday, Jack was dripped to a T-shirt and shorts inside of Mark's truck, putting together a cylinder head for Ted Musgrave's car.
But he had that hat on, I'll guarantee it. I think he takes a shower with that thing on.
We're going flat track in here at New Hampshire. The banking is only 12 degrees. At its highest point, 1,500-foot straightaways on this 1-mile oval, built from the old 1.6-mile Breyer Motorsports Park. Now plays host to Winston Cup, the Busch Series, the Featherlight Modified Tour, Indy Cars, the Loudon Classic for motorcycle, and SCCA amateur events. Go-karts, you name it. Everybody races here at the Magic Mile.
Boy, the hearts are pumping right now. This is probably the most intriguing part of the race, is when you're waiting on that green flag to fly. Coming down there, every once in a while your kneecap will jump a little bit. You really get ready for the start.
Mark Martin's Ford, Robert Presley's Chevrolet on the front row. And we are under green at New Hampshire for the Slick 5300.
Well, Mark got a nice jump. You see Robert Presley, though, on the outside. That's a great part of this racetrack. You can race fast on the outer groove there.
Tiptoeing out of turn number 2. Presley has Nemechek to the inside. Now, Joe won a Busch race here. Stole it from Dale Earnhardt on the last lap.
The 4th car in the picture there, that's Bobby Labonte. He was one of the fastest cars in morning practice yesterday. You see Nemechek's car just a little bit loose coming out of turn 4.
First Winston Cup race Mark Martin has led since Charlotte in May. There's Presley in 33.87 as Nemechek 18. Labonte, and whoa, Nemechek almost tossed the bun away with a burger there.
I think I'm going to throw that loose condition, little loose. That's a bunch loose right there.
I tell you, it looked like the car in front of him had actually got a little bit loose and slowed down, and Nemechek was making sure he didn't hit him.
Here comes Ricky Rudd in trouble in turn 3. Dave Marcus has spun around. Dale Jarrett is in the fence.
That's amazing. Wow, how many times has that happened to him this year, right at the first of a race?
Well, every TNN race. Dover, Pocono, here. Wow. He finished the Winston Select? We'll have to check.
The nice part is it does not look like a lot of damage.
And, I see her happening, but you know how those deals go. I hit it for the grass, but somebody got me.
That's Dave Marcus you're listening to as we're on board the Olive Garden Chevrolet. Here's what happened.
Lake Speed is right behind him. Looks like he got into the left rear corner just a little bit. You see Dale Jarrett running backwards up towards the wall.
Buddy, I believe that was Jeff Bodine rather than Lake Speed. There's Lake Speed moving through.
I think it was Lake Speed that actually bumped into him.
We'll double check when we come back.
We'll look again.
It is 3 laps on the scoreboard here at Loudon, New Hampshire. Dale Jarrett and Dave Marcus are both able to continue. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire, the Slick 5300. NASCAR may open the penalty box. Let's show you what happened here at turn 3 once again. Watch the 28 car.
Mike, after watching this, you were correct. It's Jeff Bodine. You can see him coming on the inside there. Rusty Wallace right on the outside. He gets into the 28 car just as they enter into the corner.
Around goes Dale Jarrett. Bodine goes under. Nice move by Rusty Wallace, but Dave Marcus.
He got collected a little bit by Elton Sawyer there.
Now from Dave Marcus's car. Oof. Pretty close. We're about to go back to green. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, the 28 car has suffered a lot of damage. They have a toe-in problem or possibly toe-out. Dale has tried to work the wheel out there a little bit, get it fixed. It won't happen this caution. They've strung the car. They can't get the toe-in fixed. They're going back to green. Right now, Dale Jarrett's just going to have to ride it out until the next yellow. Glenn Jarrett, green flag.
Well, guys, that car has got a lot of history behind it. That's the same car Davey Allison drove to his last victory ever, and it's the car that Ernie Irvin set on the pole, set the track record with here last year. Good race car.
Jeff Bodine has come down pit road where Jimmy Cox has the stop sign out, and he is holding the Exide batteries forward. We're back under green, and look at this pack. Looks like Daytona all over again with Ricky Craven in amongst Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon. Jeff Bodine will spend 1 lap in the penalty box as the field comes past.
You see Robert Presley in the 33 car. He's beginning to drop back just a little bit from the leaders. Looks like he's got a handling problem a little bit. You can see the back end dance right there as he turns into the corner.
Back to green after an early caution involving Dale Jarrett and Jeff Bodine. Ricky Rudd right on the tail of Robert Presley as Hut Strickland moves to the outside of Jeff Gordon and Ted Musgrave.
Now there's a car that does not have a problem.
No,
he
sir.
passed 2 cars in one corner on the outside. That's pretty strong.
Strickland and Musgrave, the 4th place point man, side by side. Back into the corner. Jeremy Mayfield and Dick Trickle just ahead. Think things will settle down for a few laps here?
Well, I hope so. Get a few laps under green here and kind of sort things out. See Bodine under Dick Trickle there, 2 wide coming off the corner there, and that's Ted Musgraves on the inside.
Folks, if you have questions during our telecast, we'd love to hear them. 1-800-451-7331 is our toll-free number. Operators in Nashville will fax your questions to us here in the booth, and we'll try to get you some answers as this telecast goes along. If you have a question about the race, dial in toll-free all during our telecast. 1-800-451-7331.
You know, it looks like Ricky Craven may have learned a little bit about the racetrack yesterday. He won the 150 here, Busch Grand National North, and he's working over Hut Strickland. It's right there at the back of the frame there.
And Rusty Wallace moving in. And Ward Burton.
You know, I think a lot of people don't really know that they actually repaved this racetrack since last year. And they've had a couple races on it. And, you know, last year, remember the racetrack kept coming up and, you know, it was real slick and stuff. And then now they put a sealer on it before we come this weekend. So nobody had actually run on it with the sealer, and no testing had been done or anything.
17 cautions last year. They got a beautiful racing surface here yesterday in 90-degree heat. They had sprinklers out, watered the whole surface for a bit. That was on Friday, and then of course yesterday it rained, so should be in good shape for today. We'll be right back.
Napa, we keep America running.
14 laps, Mark Martin leading Bobby Labonte, Joe Nemechek, Ricky Rudd in 4th, Robert Presley in 5th, Kyle Petty is 6th, Bill Elliott 7th, Rick Mast is 8th, Kenny Schrader 9th, Morgan Shepherd 10th, then Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, and Derek Cope. Didn't take long, did it, to see who the handling cars are and who the non-handling cars are?
Yeah, we all were talking about that before the show, and you know, there's a lot of cars that were the same in practice, and you know, now we see Jeff Gordon and we see Terry Labonte, Morgan Shepherd, Kenny Schrader. You know, everybody looks like they're handling good, but now we're going to see what's going to happen in the next 20 laps.
That's the battle for 9th place that you're watching. Kenny Schrader in 9th, Morgan Shepherd, number 21, in 10th. Labonte, the number 7 of Bodine, is 1 lap down.
You see at the back of this train right here, Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, they're moving up. They're just not in as big a hurry as we're used to seeing them come up through the crowd, because this racetrack is a give and take racetrack. You jump in there and hook somebody, you cause a huge wreck.
This group is 4.5 seconds behind the race leader.
I think this place right here, track position, is going to be so important. You know, pit stops are going to be unbelievable important, and you know, this race has always had that type of deal, but you know, right now the cars are so much equal. I think that now track position is going to be even more. I think we're going to see some 2-tire stops. Obviously, Ricky Rudd won the race last year doing a 2-tire stop, but I really think that the tires are, you know, keeping their speed for a long time. So we're going to see some 2-tire stops, and pit stops are going to be critical.
This is Kenny Schrader leading this bunch. You see Morgan Shepherd looking into the inside there. I believe his car is a little bit quicker than Kenny's in the corner, but he can't get the move on him because Kenny's car is extremely strong down the straightaway.
Let's recount that of the cars involved in that incident. Dale Jarrett is still on the lead lap, but is fading. Dave Marcus is back in and amongst the fray, and here comes Earnhardt and Gordon. This would be back at 13th position.
That's Derek Cope in the 12 car there. He's run this group down and moved right up in the fray.
Now Earnhardt's actually passed Gordon because Gordon was in front of him for a while. Now Earnhardt's passed him, and it looks like Earnhardt's pulling away from Gordon. 13th place.
Pulling down on the Pennzoil Pontiac and Mike Waltrip.
See Jeff Gordon's car kind of hook a little bit there coming out of the corner. Back end jumped out just a little bit. He did lose a lap a while ago when they brought him in for that stop and go penalty.
Oh, buddy, they held him a lap. They held him until the leader went by. It was a full 1 lap penalty box.
Same difference. Deal. 1 lap down. I guarantee you he's fuming right now.
So now here's Earnhardt looking inside Michael Waltrip.
Also looks like
right there. Michael give him some room there. You see Michael Waltrip move out. He knows Earnhardt, and he gets his nose up under there. He's going to go somewhere.
And Terry Labonte goes after Schrader. Makes the pass. With Shepherd now moving up into 9th place in that pack.
Schrader and Earnhardt, that's 2 hard heads going there, boy. They'll race themselves to death. They love to race each other. Looks like Schrader might be off just a little bit. Ernie, it looks like the outside groove is going away quite a bit, because the minute that Schrader got to the outside, he lost about 7 or 8 positions.
Yeah, I don't really think there was much of an outside groove anyway. You know, there was never been anybody running up on the outside and running fast. That's going to come in later today, I think.
So there's Schrader, just outside the top 10 now. 22 laps complete. Mark Martin leads Bobby Labonte, Joe Nemechek, Robert Presley, and Ricky Rudd, the top 5. We'll be right back. 27 laps complete here at Loudon, New Hampshire. Here's a look at your top 10 in the Slick 50 300. Down through Terry Labonte in 10th place, and down through Dick Trickle running in 20th. Bobby Labonte had been right on Mark Martin's bumper until the last time they went into turn number 1, where Mark opened up about 3 car lengths on Bobby, whose car pushed up to the high groove between 1 and 2.
Mike, a lot of times when you go in the corner, Ernie can verify this, you go in so hard that the car will not stick, and it goes right on out to the outside, and you can see the outside groove is not the place to be right now, so he lost quite a bit of ground there.
I tell you, you know, they put a sealer on this racetrack yesterday or a couple, 3 days ago, and you know, everybody started running. Well, nobody really ran the high groove. So obviously more of the sealer that gets wore off on the bottom groove gets faster. Top groove doesn't have the sealer wore off yet.
Now they have just overlapped Dale Jarrett, whose car was involved in that initial lap spin. There you see the right rear of Jarrett's car, the spoiler and deck lid pushed up, the bumper a bit askew. Other than that, Randy Pemberton, what's wrong with Dale Jarrett's car?
Well, I can tell you it's a somber bunch down here in the 28. The 28 crew is Larry McReynolds. We know you had some damage. What is it, and can you fix it?
Well, I think we can, Randy. We're going to have a caution to fix it. It sure would have been nice to have got one before the leaders got back to us. The right front wheel's towed out about 3 inches. Again, we can fix it, I think, but need a caution to do it.
Okay, that's the report from Larry McReynolds.
Jarrett, after the spin, backed into the wall and then may have come around and caught it with the right front as well. Watch that 8 car tail into that pack. See a little bit of smoke coming out the back of Jeff Burton's Ray Bestis Ford. As he goes into the corner, dissipates when he comes off the corner behind Hut Strickland, Dick Trickle, and Jerry Mayfield. Now there's a touch of it there, just coming up from under.
Well, Mike, if it don't get any worse than that, but the bad part is it's so early in the race to have any kind of leak that eventually you're going to use up whatever that is smoking. We don't speculate up here because we certainly don't know.
I tell you, that race team right there has really had a tough time this year. I was talking to somebody this morning, and they haven't been in the top. They've only ran in the top 18 one time. I mean, so they've had a tough go of it.
Burton's crew thinks it's a valve cover leaking, valve cover gasket.
Well, you see everybody lapping over Dale Jarrett there. When the front tire is towed out 3 inches like that, that's just like dragging the whole car down the straightaway. It just won't come up to speed, and I know he's wishing for caution right now.
Gordon Shepard goes past, so Jarrett joins Jeff Bodine and being 1 lap down. 33 of 300 laps complete. Just 2 cars off the lead lap.
See Morgan Shepard there. He's chasing Earnhardt through the corner. He looks like he's running quite well today. He said he was this morning when I talked to him. Morgan Shepard said he was really getting through the corners good. And as you know, this racetrack is all corner. I mean, that's where you really set up to get the straightaway speed that makes it count.
Mike Wallace and the Heilig Myers Ford, whose name has been mentioned with several top rides for next season. Now driving for Junie Donlevy, and he'll go a lap down to Mark Martin.
You know, rumors are funny. This man owns part of this race team. Junie Donlevy gave him part of that race team. I'm not sure he's going anywhere.
I'm not either. But you hear some strange things this time of year.
Definitely.
Jeremy Mayfield caught on the outside in the RCA Ford of Cale Yarborough, and those other 3 Fords freight train by him. Now Ricky Craven when a Chevrolet drops to the inside. He's not going to get there this time.
Oh, we have one in the wall, the 22 car, Jimmy Hensley.
That's the Bill Davis MBNA Pontiac bringing out the second caution flag of the day right between turns 1 and 2.
See Jimmy coming out. He's got his window net down. He's getting out of the car right now. Trying to get everything unhooked. When you start getting out and all those radio connections and everything, you have to get all that unhooked before you can jump out.
Hensley 2 races ago replaced rookie Randy LaJoie in the Bill Davis Pontiac. And he's had a pretty hard lick into the wall. Gets out under his own power and waits for attention. Should see pit stops here.
Must have cut a tire down or something. It sure seems like. You know, now, yeah, again, remember, pit stops are going to be really critical right now. And, you know, the fastest pit crews are the ones that are going to, you know, benefit from this.
And as we've said, track position is so critical. The quickest crews. A lot easier to pass somebody when they're stopped on pit road than out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's for sure. Jimmy's still sitting there.
Well, he's okay. Looks like he just had a little bit of the wind knocked out of him.
And we look like we got pit stops coming. It looks like everybody's going to come.
Mark Martin leads the fleet down pit road. Mike Wallace and Jeff Bodine stay out as they are not on the lead lap. They cannot pit this time.
I bet you we'll see some two-tire stops. You know, obviously they're all pitting, so we're not going to be able to spot them all.
Here's Glenn.
Mark Martin comes in. He's been talking with Steve Mill about a slight chassis adjustment. They were only talking about maybe a pound of air added to the right rear, so evidently the car might be just a little bit too tight for Mark. But other than that, I see no signs of any chassis adjustment, so anything they did with air pressure. Randy?
Well, Jeff Gordon went for a two-tire stop. He's down and away. Rusty Wallace is out. The 28 car is in. They're working on the rear end and the front end of Dale Jarrett's car. He's in for a lengthy stay. He'll probably just beat the pace car out.
Here's how they came off pit road. Jeff Gordon out first. Mark Martin out second. Bobby Labonte. Then Robert Presley, Joe Nemechek, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Morgan Shepherd, and Rusty Wallace. We'll be right back to Loudon, New Hampshire after this.
On TNN is brought to you by RCA. Changing entertainment again.
A slip of the grip and bad luck for Bobby Labonte. They had a great pit stop. They got Bobby back out in third place, but they left a wrench in the car, the one they used to adjust the jacking bolt. Look at the top of the left rear of the rear window, and there is that ratchet and the extension that turns that jacking screw. The mechanic takes it off, tosses it over the wall, and Bobby Labonte will restart tail end. Here's Glenn.
Well, you're looking at the wrench here. Jimmy Makar is talking to his driver, Bobby Labonte. Of course, Jimmy is the crew chief on the car. We'll let them finish their conversation, and we'll get a word with him to see just exactly what they're going to do to Jimmy. Awfully tough break, but nothing you can do now but take your time getting back.
No, it wasn't. It was kind of a miscommunication here in the pits. We made a tire pressure change, and one of the guys thought we meant rounds and put the wedge wrench in the car to make the round change, and nobody made a change. So.
Saw you talking to Bobby there. You trying to calm him down or just tell him to take it easy?
No, he's okay. We just kind of go over what we got to do, starting at the back. Kind of going to be a little tough now. We have to be calm and take our time, get to the front, but kind of be cautiously aggressive. So we got a lot of time left in the race. I think we'll be okay. We just have to stay out of trouble.
Awfully smart thinking there. They got an awfully good race car today.
They do, Glenn, but as you look at the top 10, buddy, two drivers that I've never known anybody had to calm down, the Labonte brothers.
They're pretty cool.
They are cool customers. The 28 car pitted with the cars on the lead lap, so he must restart at the tail end of the longest line, and that line is 38 cars long. Cars on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon has now led 15 of the 16 races this year, has 110 bonus points. You get 5 points if you lead a lap during the race, and the driver who leads the most laps gets an additional 5 points. We'll try to give you those stats in response to one of our 800 calls if we have it at the end of the day. We're ready to go back to green. Lap 41 and green flag flying. Jeff Gordon hauls him down to turn one. That's Jeff Bodine, number 7, trying to get back on the lead lap as Mark Martin carries you into turn one. Bodine got a good run up off the corner, got right to Gordon's bumper and no further.
It's not quite over yet. He's looking on the inside. He makes the move going into turn 3 there.
A bold move by Jeff Bodine. Here comes Mark Martin trying to take the lead. Almost took our in-car camera right there as he got up against Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Jeff got tagged just a little bit there, but Mark was already up under him. It was not meant to happen like that.
So Bodine is back on the lead lap, and Martin is back in the lead. Glenn?
Well, Mike, one of the reasons that Jeff Gordon decided to take on only 2 tires while the rest of the guys took 4 was track position. They wanted it very, very badly. They knew they could get up to the front of the pack and maybe not lose too many on the restart. Ray Evernham told him, Jeff, it's going to be a little loose in the center of the corner. Just take it easy. We'll gain in the long run by doing this.
Thanks, Glenn. Pretty much single file back through the field.
See Hut Strickland and Kyle Petty racing side by side. Hut's not able to make any positions on the outside there. He'll have to stay on the bottom until they work that groove up later on in the race.
To underscore Glenn's point, Jeff Gordon came into the pits 12th on that caution flag and came out first. Ricky Craven and Todd Bodine and Ward Burton, the 31, the Hardy's car battle.
See Ward Burton there taking a look, running there with Schrader on the inside of the racetrack. And you can see that outside lane. He lost about 3 car lengths. Here comes Ward Burton making it 3 wide down the back straightaway as they go towards turn 3.
Schrader had to check up coming off turn 2 to keep from getting into Strickland, and Ward Burton drives on past.
Well, this is a give and take, and I guarantee you if I'd have been in third lane, I'd have been given.
Second helpings for Ward Burton. As he moves up now, Ricky Craven, the Kodiak Chevy, number 41 on the inside. Pulls underneath Hut Strickland. Ooh, they bump, they bang, and Strickland goes around in the fence gently. A long ride for the Quaker State Ford of Hut Strickland. Will he sit there to draw the caution? No, he pulls away, and he didn't hit it all that gently.
No, that's pretty, you know, anytime you touch a concrete wall, it's backed up by the state of New Hampshire here,
Yes.
so when you pop it, it's going to bend some stuff.
We stay under green.
Well, Mark Martin's making this look pretty easy right now. That car's doing everything he wants, but you see, everybody's not doing everything they can do right now. There's Jeff Bodine just in front of him. He's back in the lead lap now, and he actually passed the lead car.
Let's show you what happened to Hut Strickland. There's Ricky Craven, 41. Strickland is the other green car, 26.
Okay, you see Ricky right on the bottom there. They just make contact getting into the corner. There was nowhere for Ricky to go. He had the left front as far down next to that yellow line as he could go.
He lost about 4 positions, and Hut Strickland got into the fence and is now on pit road. Randy's right there.
Well, Hut's damage looks at least as bad as Dale Jarrett's. The trunk buckled in underneath the rear tires. Hard to see if the frame is bent underneath. It might be okay, but they've lost now 2 laps. They've changed 4 tires. Hut stalls the car, leaving pit road. They've got a little work to do on the next pit stop. He'll ride around so they can get her back in here.
One of the few disappointments they've had since Strickland has joined that team.
You know, that's a lot like the wreck that they had at Michigan when, you know, Ricky Rudd kind of come down on him. You know, that's just part of racing, I guess.
Rusty Wallace and Rick Mast battle. There's Bill Elliott with Ted Musgrave, Derek Cope, Dale Earnhardt, and the 30 car of Michael Waltrip. We'll be back to New Hampshire International Speedway after this. .55 laps complete in the Slick 5300 here at Loudon, New Hampshire. Mark Martin in front of the field. Jeff Bodine there on the tail end of the lead lap in number 7. Show you another look at what happened from Sterling Marlin's car. And Marlin was one of 4 cars that went by Craven and Strickland. Marlin running 20th, Earnhardt 13th, Gordon is 2nd. Those are the 3-point leaders. And look at the right side of your screen there. Robert Presley just behind the 2 leaders. What a great run the rookie driver is having for Leo Jackson today. Let's go to his pit.
Well, guys, one of the reasons that he may be doing so well so early is that Robert has had more experience on this racetrack than anybody else here. He ran all the Busch Series races. So, Charlie, is that a lot to do with it, the experience that Robert has here?
I think it has a lot to do with it. He came here with a good setup. Guys back in the shop gave him a good car. Robert put a good setup under it. It's looking pretty good right now.
Well, it certainly is. Of course, this is Charlie Presley, Robert's brother and crew chief. And next door to them is Joe Nemechek. Joe also has a lot of experience on this racetrack. It seems to be paying off early here for those young guys.
That's right, fans. Remember that when Bob Bear built this super speedway, he ran Busch Grand National racing for several years before NASCAR would grant him a Winston Cup date. So the drivers who ran those races may have an edge here today. Presley trails Ricky Craven by 1 point in the Rookie of the Year chase. John Andretti moving up on Sterling Marlin.
There's Jimmy Spencer. He's on the move right now. He's up under Ricky Craven getting in that corner. He's just behind these cars that we're looking at, this Dick Trickle. And I noticed a while ago that Sterling Marlin's car, when we had the in-car camera on it, he's running those headers again that everybody was talking about in Daytona.
Now, Ron Pittman said those were only for Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah, but you know how motormen are.
No, how are they?
They'll tell you a fib.
Ron Pittman would not do that. Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running at 58 laps. We had an 800 call about gas mileage. We estimate about 5 miles per gallon for the Winston Cup cars. And I asked Ron Pittman that one day at Daytona. I said, can you make it on fuel? And he says, heck, he says, this thing gets better gas mileage than my wife's station wagon.
Yeah.
Glad I don't drive her station wagon.
Hotel 15 spotter right now. Taylor is on good solars for O'Getty.
Now, that's the interplay between the 37 car of John Andretti and the 4 car of Sterling Marlin. A little horse trading going on up here to our right on the roof. We're going to talk to the spotter for Dick Trickle.
For the 15 car.
Try to work something out. There goes Andretti.
Good to Solary.
Boy, Andretti's running very well. He passed Sterling like he was stopped going in turn 3 over there.
20th place. And Jimmy Spencer in the camel car just behind Marlin's Kodak machine. 60 laps are complete here at the Magic Mile at Loudon, New Hampshire, and Mark Martin has been in front for most of them. We'll be right back with you live on TNN.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Slick 5300 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Sterling Marlin's dropped a few spots from when we left. Jimmy Spencer just sliced underneath him, and so did Bobby Hamilton in the STP Pontiac just ahead. So Marlin continues to drop a few positions, not going to aid him in his quest to stay 7 points ahead of Jeff Gordon and 16 ahead of Dale Earnhardt. He has slipped to 23rd. As Jimmy Spencer continues to move forward, passing Dick Trickle.
Don't do it.
What Buddy Baker was saying was, please, Dick Trickle, don't pull down. There you hear the spotters, they're saying clear, you know. When the car goes by and the spotter sees that they're clear, they'll tell him clear.
See Bobby Hamilton there, the car is right on the bottom of the racetrack. It's handling quite well. He and Spencer have really moved up in the past couple of laps.
Ooh, look at Marlin pull down on Bobby Hamilton getting into the corner. Once again, if you have questions for us, give us a call here at TNN. Questions about today's race, toll free 1-800-451-7331. John from New York wants to know, what's the difference between the helmet these drivers wear and his motorcycle helmet?
Well, actually, the motorcycle helmet would be basically the same thing we would wear in a race car. Now, I don't know what his motorcycle helmet actually is, but we wear a Simpson helmet. Most all the Winston Cup guys do. And, you know, they're usually, most of us all wear a full face Simpson helmet.
My guess, John, the major differences are the D-rings are a little different shape for a cycle helmet. They got flat sides instead of round ones. There's a fire retardant interior in the racing helmet. The racing helmet has a Snell Foundation sticker that it's been inspected and approved. Right. So that's the big differences.
And the one thing I love the best is the fresh air duct in the side.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, with the full face helmet, you have to have some air in there.
I tell you, they've got some words going around with Jimmy Spencer. He really been loose off the corner a couple times, and I think he's just about sideswiped the fence there a little bit, but he's really running good.
Jimmy runs one way. Wide open.
No, no, it's two ways. Wide open, half turned over all the time.
Mr. Excitement, they named him when he ran the modifieds and won the national championship. Won 2 races last year, Daytona and Talladega in July. Here's Bill Elliott running in 10th place in the McDonald's Ford, leading a pack that includes the Family Channel Ford of Ted Musgrave, the main and tail Ford. Almost losing part of that tail was Derek Cope, and the man in black, the Goodwrench Chevy, 7-time champion Dale Earnhardt.
You could see Dale got just about up where Derek Cope would know he's there, but not quite. And Dale had to check up a little bit until he come right back across it on the front of the 3-car.
I tell you, you remember last year, you know, I led a lot of this race and actually had put Dale Earnhardt a lap down because he wasn't running all that well. And you can't ever count Dale Earnhardt out. He'll work on their car. They'll work on their car. Next thing you know, Dale Earnhardt gets his lap back. Pretty soon he's in the lead and racing for the win.
Earnhardt didn't win that race. Ricky Rudd did. But to me, that was one of Earnhardt's most impressive drives of all last season to come. He lost a lap in less than 100 laps, maybe 60 laps.
I think it was about 60 laps.
I think you're right. And then came back and was a contender.
Speaking of contenders, right there in the 16 car, Ted Musgrave, I don't know if anybody has had a better year than he's had. He's so consistent. Don't count him out of the points race yet.
He's in fourth, 110 points out of the lead. Trouble on Dick Trickle's car. The engine may have let go. A lot of smoke out of turn 2. Trickle drops to the inside. Tough day for Bud Moore's team.
Great run in Daytona. Got shuffled around on the restart there. I think he was running in 7th and got into the wall a little bit. Some cars helped him get over into it and ended up way back in the field there. But they had a great run all day.
You can see Jeff Gordon working on Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon only took 2 tires on, so that's going to tell all these guys in the pits that you know, man, maybe we only have to put 2 on. So next stop, the majority of the guys will probably put 2 on. Jeff Gordon's probably going to have to put 4 on. So whereas advantage, he got back to the front this time. Now the advantage is going to be away from him a little bit.
But now they know that a 2-tire stop works, and it really doesn't hurt them badly.
Right.
Dick Trickle's car on pit road with the hood up. Bobby Labonte, who had that penalty, has gained only 9 spots since the restart. And we'll be right back to Loudon, New Hampshire after this. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire International Speedway. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin. Randy Pemberton, Glenn Jarrett on pit road for TNN today. Mark Martin continues to hold sway. Remember the penalty to Bobby Labonte? He is only 5 seconds on the racetrack from going a lap down. That penalty really cost him. Track position, as we said at the top of the day, is everything here. Labonte came out of the pits 3rd, had to stop to remove a jacking bolt wrench, had to restart 38th. Now may be in trouble because here come the leaders.
Well, the same people he's trying to pass, though, the leaders have to go by now. The only thing they do have is the advantage of the flagman working with them to move the lap over cars out of the way. So there's always an advantage to be on the lead lap.
I'll tell you, Buddy Baker brought up a good point. If Jeff Gordon gets back in the lead lap, which he's on the lead lap now, but he's actually outrunning Mark Martin right now. So if he can get back, get a caution and get to come back around, he's going to be a contender today.
Chuck Bound about to be overlapped by the race leader. Mark Martin, very interesting sponsor on Bound's car underneath Active Racing. Not sure we can get a shot of it, but I'll tell you about it. Now here's Gordon underneath Bound. Gets it by. And there's Bound. David McCorriston of Bristol, Connecticut was taking his girlfriend through the garage area today. And under Active Racing where it says, "Connie, will you marry me, David?" Connie Russo said yes. What a way to propose on the side of a Winston Cup stock car.
Huh, that is neat.
So Connie and David, best of luck. Hope the marriage lasts longer than the sheet metal on most of these cars. Pretty neat deal.
You see Steve Griffin going a lap down there. There's Mark Martin, and you see Jeff Gordon. He only changed 2 tires, but he may have had a handling problem that they figured if they just changed the right sides, it would really make the car better. So a lot of times you do that. Instead of taking on 4 tires, you take on the right sides and maybe loosen the car up just a little bit.
Let's go back to the battle for 5th place where Robert Presley's trying to hold off Terry Labonte. Labonte 7th in the point standings at this halfway juncture. And Presley battling Ricky Craven for Rookie of the Year. Presley started outside pole today.
Well, if Terry Labonte gets by him, it would do Robert Presley proud just to follow this guy because he knows where that winner's circle is.
And here comes Rusty Wallace, who has come from 20th on the starting grid to 6th place today.
Like I said, Rusty was one of the real good cars in practice, and you see Rusty's line through the corner. I mean, he's going in real low, and he's coming all the way around the corner and right near the apron.
Ernie, he's within a half car length of getting as low as you run here.
Now, last year I ran really, really low, but the problem was the outside, the racetrack was breaking up. 90% of the cars would run the outside like that. Wow. I would run real low on the apron. Well, what happened was I was the one running it, and it ended up breaking the inside up too. So the groove went away. So I got passed by a couple guys, and I had to change my groove.
Talking about breaking it up, as we were talking just then, Rusty Wallace just went by Labonte like he was stopped.
Well, I think Labonte, once Rusty got the bottom, looked like Terry let him go. Labonte is one of those drivers who picks his battles.
Yeah, he'll fight you later.
Right. It's like, I don't have to fight you now, but I'm going to be back and get you later.
I think he fights you when it counts.
That's it.
I think the old saying is, you want to fight? No, but I'm going to. That's Bill Elliott there. He's getting by Mike Wallace. Mike's just a little bit off on the corner times. Here comes Earnhardt making it 3 wide, which is not unusual. And Ted Musgrave stick that car right on that yellow line.
Which Derek Cope right there in the main and tail Ford. His car's been running really good today too.
Yeah, Cope came from 23rd on the starting grid. He's now in 13th.
Michael Waltrip in the 30 car there.
And his name has been dropped into the rumor mill about next season.
He's been in the rumor mill for the past 10 years. Chuck Ryder likes him. He's a good race car driver. He's going to win sooner or later. He's good enough to win.
Dick Trickle's back in the race after Bud Moore's crew repaired a broken power steering line. Presley and Wallace, the 93 winner. Dale Jarrett involved in a crash early on and is now, let's see, 2 laps down. At 88 laps, Mark Martin leads Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Robert Presley, the rookie, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, and Morgan Shepherd.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Slick 5300 on TNN is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
92 laps complete here at Loudon. Mark Martin continues to lead Jeff Gordon. Joe Nemechek having one of the best runs of his Winston Cup career in 3rd as we watch this battle from 9th on back. Make it 10th on back. There's Bill Elliott in 10th, Ted Musgrave 11th, Derek Cope in 12th, Michael Waltrip is 13th. This group are kind of evened out. But up here, Rusty Wallace had moved past Terry Labonte and now goes after Joe Nemechek. 3rd place at stake here.
Not for long.
Nope. Wallace moves on by. Nemechek's gotten into the right front.
He needs to take a lead to beat the tape off. He's brake dusting. The brakes are starting to get hot.
That's Rusty.
He's a field general. When he's out there, he'll tell him, I want 1 pound out of the right front. I want this on the rear spoiler. Do this, do that. All the way through the race. I mean, he is calling the shots for everything they do on this race car.
Now here's Labonte's gotten past Nemechek. Moves the Kellogg's car up a notch and back into the top 5.
I have to say Rusty's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. You know, he went by the 33, he went by the 5, and you know, he's really running real well today.
Dale Jarrett's made a stop for 4 tires, and you're riding with Dave Marcus, looking back to Elton Sawyer. Robert Harrington, one of the top longtime crew chiefs in this sport, asked me to pass along a thank you to all the folks up here. He said the hospitality we've been shown by even the people who park the cars, everybody at the racetrack, the folks at the hotels, everybody has been, he said, it's like it used to be down south with old-fashioned Southern hospitality up here in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. He thought that was pretty neat.
Well, we do too.
I tell you, we noticed that when we come in and out of the garage and we come in and out of the tunnel. I mean, even the tunnel guy, he acted like he was having a fun time parking the cars and stuff today.
It's on your outside.
It's not often you have that. Here goes Rusty Wallace trying to get by Dave Marcus on the outside.
And you're listening to Marcus's radio communication with his crew and spotter. There are a lot of race fans up here. You'd never know it to read some of the major daily papers here that insist on covering stick and ball sports that draw about a quarter of the attendance that's here today, but that's the way it goes.
I talked to Roger Bear that owns the racetrack. He told me that he had requests for at least 40,000 more seats.
Gosh.
I mean, he could have sold 40,000 more seats, but they can't get them in and out of here. I mean, this is like the maximum you can get in here. And, you know, he would put more grandstands up because I tell you, it's a really, really pretty place. And they've done a great job with it.
Ted Goddard here, who handles the facilities, told me this morning, he said, we've added 22 acres of parking. It's all used up. He said, we're going to have to work out how to shuttle people from Concord and from Laconia to ease the parking problem. And he says the biggest problem they have right now is so many people come to the racetrack, one person to a car. If they could alleviate that, it would ease traffic congestion coming and going, and they'd be able to get more people here.
That's for sure.
Here's a traffic jam in the making.
Derek Cope making a move on Ted Musgraves there. Derek Cope is running very, very well today, and I look for them sometime during the year to really do something special because that's a good race team. It's Bobby Allison's race team.
Looked like Joe Nemechek had his loose problem back again from the time when you were mentioning it at the beginning of the race.
Report we have on Nemechek's car is that the brakes had been heating up and become ineffective, so he eased the car for a few laps, get a little more braking pedal back in it, and then was able to go back after and pick up a spot or two.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling, especially here. As long as the straightaways are and as flat as the corners are, the brake pedal starts getting spongy, and you start pumping about halfway down the straightaway to get enough pedal built up just to get in the corner. Not a good feeling.
So at 101 laps, there's your leaders, Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon, the Valvoline Ford and the DuPont Chevrolet. We'll be back to New Hampshire International Speedway live on TNN after this. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire, and the Slick 5300 live on the Nashville Network. For information on Featherlight trailers, call 1-800-800-1230. Featherlight, official trailer of NASCAR. Tense moment for Mark Martin as he tried to get past Jeff Burton right between turns 1 and 2. Thought better of it and cracked the throttle. Jeff Gordon just one car length behind the race leader, Ford versus Chevrolet here.
Mike, that's what makes Mark Martin the driver that he is. He never makes a mistake that takes him out of a race. It's give and take, and he knows it. He gets in there a little hot and it might be a wreck. He'll back off long enough to get everybody straight again.
We've had several questions about our in-car cameras and how they are chosen and why Mark Martin always seems to have one. Well, the folks that sponsor that car, they obtain or purchase an in-car camera from TNN for every Winston Cup race we televise. Other sponsors do so likewise. In fact, on all the cable network telecasts, the in-car cameras are sold to the car sponsors. Well, we say sold. They cover the cost of installing and operating the camera and the helicopter that hovers above the racetrack to transmit the pictures from the race car, bounce off the helicopter, and then down to the Boykin Communications truck next to our TNN truck, where you get these great pictures from.
You can see Jeff Burton's car there getting really sideways just in front of Mark Martin. I bet Mark's going, you know, I'd like to do something here pretty quick because it looks like the A car is just a little bit off. You see the back end of the car jump around right there.
Now, did he wave Mark to the inside? No, I don't think so.
Didn't look like it yet.
Thought I saw a wave. Guess not. Well, pit stops will be coming up when, Glenn?
Well, guys, when Mark Martin's pitched, they're expecting him in on the next lap. They gave him about a 3-lap interval a while ago. They told me lap 110. They may go to lap 111. They're going to go with 4 tires. They're going to get, obviously, fuel. They're going to make a slight adjustment on the car. It was a little bit tight. They made it a little too loose to Mark's liking, believe it or not, even though he continues to lead. It's a little bit loose, but very slight adjustment. Put it back like it was when the race started. Randy?
Well, they're starting to rush around in Jeff Gordon's pit. I went up to Ray Everingham. No strategy there. They got to take 4 tires. They're running second. 2 tires will do you no good right now. You still got almost 200 laps left. The 2 car, Robin Pemberton and the guys, they're talking about when they're going to pit. They're also going to take on 4 tires. Really no chassis adjustments to speak of down here, Glenn.
I think there'll be wholesale pit stops next time by. I see 9 crews standing on the wall holding Jackson tires and ready to jump. So pit stops are imminent. Boy, if Mark stops, that's a break for Jeff Burton and Jeremy Mayfield.
Momentarily it is anyhow, but
Yes.
they have to stop pretty quick too. Even though they're about to go a lap down, they're still running quite well.
We all have the same amount of gas, right?
That's it.
7th and 8th place, the Winston Cup champion and the defending champion of this race. Jeff Bodine surrenders his tail end of the lead lap position to become the first car to make a green flag stop in this round. And he will get 4 tires on his X-Side Ford. Derek Cope, the straight arrow main and tail Ford, is also in. Ooh, Jeff Burton.
I thought he'd cut a tire just for a second. Looked like Jeff Burton was going straight there. Here comes Mark Martin down the pit road as we speak.
And Jeff Gordon stays out. So Mark Martin comes down toward Steve Meal and the crew, lap 113 if you're keeping tally at home. Pit board is also out for Kyle Petty as Derek Cope completes his service. Let's go to Glenn.
Well, guys, as Mark Martin pulls down into the pits, they told us he was going to put on 4 tires. That's so we'd say that and all the other teams would hear that. Now they have decided to go with the right side tires only. So after they got everybody else's attention and said 4, they're going to put on 2 right sides, send him down and away. They like the idea of what Jeff Gordon did. The right sides are on, he's down and away. Randy?
Well, they're waiting for Jeff Gordon. I'll tell you, that is a funny thing that they did. 2 tires. It does put the pressure on these guys down here. The 2 right side tires going around. They're loosening the left side lug nuts, no doubt about it. They're going 4. Robin Pemberton also waiting for Rusty Wallace. These guys wanted to pick up 5 bonus points, both Jeff Gordon as well as the 2 car. The left side tire is going on the 24 car right now. Good pit stop, should go a lap down, but Jeff Gordon away 17 flat. Wow, these guys are cooking in the pits. They're waiting for Rusty Wallace to come down pit road.
Great stop for Gordon. Ted Musgrave got 4 tires. Kyle Petty is getting 4. Brett Bodine is in. So is Jeremy Mayfield. Ward Burton has 4 tires. Ricky Craven, Steve Grissom, the 23 of Jimmy Spencer. And let's go to Randy at Rusty Wallace.
No wedge wrench for Rusty Wallace. Right side tires already on, coming around. Scott Robinson with a jack, 1 pump, car up in the air. This looks like a good stop so far as well for Rusty. Gas is in, down and away. Another great stop on pit road.
16.5.
Wow. I used to take that long to get it out of neutral and get it in low gear. That's incredible.
Now remember that they've changed some of the pit road rules at the beginning of the year this year. So most of the stops were 20 seconds, 19.5 and stuff like that. Now they're back to going 16.5, 17 flat.
Rich Bickle's been in. Joe Nemechek is in. So is Rick Mast. Here's Terry Labonte coming down the pit lane. Mike Wallace has completed his stop. Todd Bodine is in as well. And Robert Presley is in. Here's Randy.
Well, the boys for the Kellogg's Cornflake machine on the wall, poised and ready for Terry Labonte to hit his mark. Labonte brings it in nice and smooth, doesn't lock him up at all. Walter Smith with a jack, puts the Kellogg Chevy up in the air, automatic 4-tire stop. You wonder what this is going to do to the strategy of Mark Martin right now. Around to the left side, Jack is up once again. Labonte having a good stop. Not as good as Martin's or Gordon's or Wallace's, it appears. He's down and away.
19.1 seconds for Terry Labonte. Here's Glenn.
Presley's pit. Well, we got a problem in Robert Presley's pit. He came in for a 2-tire change and he stalled the engine. Something happened. It fluttered. I don't know if he was out of fuel or what. They sprayed some starting fluid in it and it helped it start it back up, but he lost valuable time. The time that he might have gained with the 2-tire change was wasted by the car stalling. Tough break for Robert Presley. He's still got a good race car, though.
And here's your leader. Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd have yet to pit, as does Morgan Shepherd.
I tell you, I still think what Mark Martin and them did was a smart thing. I mean, take 2 tires on a green flag, and make sure you can get some more guys a lap down.
Well, it was obvious what Earnhardt wanted. He wanted those 5 points for leading a lap right there, and he'll probably be coming in pretty quick now.
Well, that point battle is tight enough that those 5 points could be very important come season's end. Bobby Hamilton is in the STP Pontiac. So is Sterling Marlin, the Kodak Chevrolet. The Span Ford of Lake Speed coming in for its stop. 4 tires for Sterling Marlin and 4 for Bobby Hamilton. Blaine called in from Connecticut. Must have seen that cover story in Forbes magazine this week. Wants to know if it's possible to buy stock in NASCAR.
They don't need it.
Wish it were. The France family in Daytona Beach founded and privately holds the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. So you won't find it listed, folks. However, some of the speedways are public corporations. Contact your local broker for information. Here's Ricky Rudd, the defending champion of the Slick 5300 in his tied Ford. Morgan Shepherd is also in, and Bill Elliott in the McDonald's Ford. Watch Bill Engel's team go to work here on Ricky Rudd, and this looks like a 2-tire stop.
Yep, looks 4-tire. There's a
you're right,
tire man in the bottom.
Yep, down there at the right rear, they're loosening those lug nuts. 4-tire stop. Morgan Shepherd got only 2. Bill Elliott will get 4. Rudd is away. Chassis change on the right rear of Elliott's car. Hut Strickland is in, and Darrell Waltrip, the gas mileage king of NASCAR, finally comes in. Lap after everybody else. There's Darrell in the Western Auto Chevy. Told us yesterday, if you missed our telecast, the car wasn't quite right. He wasn't quite sure how he would run today, but he's held on to the lead lap.
He told me, he said, don't worry about how I'm running. I'll be up near the front when it's over. I said, okay, I'm going to keep you to it.
Bobby Hillen is in. So is Jeff Burton, getting right side tires on the Ray Vestas Ford.
Mike, you can see the difference in a car that has tires right now. You see Earnhardt just moving over and letting Rusty Wallace go. Earnhardt will be coming in this time, I'm almost sure.
The pit board is out for Dale Earnhardt. Way down in turn number 1. The last pit stall.
I just want to see him run another lap. He moves it over like he wants these cars to go on. Dale's off the pace quite a bit right now. He needs to get in the pit.
I'm sure that you know, they're all hoping for a caution now, because if they have a caution, Dale Earnhardt's going to look like a real smart guy, because you know most of the guys are going to be a lap down.
Dick Trickle, the Bud Moore Ford Quality Care Thunderbird, on pit road. And now they're up on top of the wall in the Earnhardt pit, so here he comes. Glenn Jarrett, 2 tires or 4?
Mike, Richard Childers told me this will be 4 tires, but after I said what I did on race day this morning, I don't know if they'll tell me the truth or not. No, he said it would be a 4-tire stop. They're going to make a slight adjustment with air pressure. The car not exactly to Dale's liking, but they've waited as long as they can. They went a long way, in fact, further than anybody has gone so far on this stop. They go to the right side. Nothing unusual going on right now. The left side lug nuts are being loosened, so it will indeed be a 4-tire stop. Looks like a good stop. I didn't get a clock on it. I hope somebody did, but this looks like a real good stop. Left side's on and down. 17.3 seconds. Excellent stop by Dale Earnhardt's crew.
Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac, and John Andretti in the Kmart Little Caesars Ford become a couple of the final drivers to pit under this round of green flag stops. Wake up. We'll be right back. Opryland USA is the official destination of NASCAR. For more information, call Monday through Friday, 615-889-6611. Bobby Labonte led a lap, but his Interstate Battery Chevy is now on pit road, getting 4 tires. And he'll surrender the lead to Mark Martin. Green flag pit stops have been completed. Just about back where we were, with Mark Martin leading Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace up to 3rd, and Terry Labonte in 4th. Glenn Jarrett's in Mark Martin's pit.
Well, Steve, you made a little bit of a gamble there to try 2 tires. Was it because of what Gordon did, or you just wanted to see what your car would do?
Well, Jeff ran real good on his too, and at the first yellow when we put on 4, the lefts were just perfect, so we thought we'd just go ahead and get rides and try to keep them getting lapped or have a little bit of a lead when everybody else pitted. Get us some breathing room, and maybe stop a little short the next time if there wasn't a caution. Typically at New Hampshire, there's plenty of caution, so it wasn't really a big gamble.
Does Mark say there's a lot of difference with the way the car feels?
No, he hadn't said a word. He just wanted to know where the leader was before everybody pitted, if we'd been lapped, and I just told him he was the leader, so he's just kind of riding right now.
Well, he definitely knows where the leader is now.
Yes, he does. That's Steve Meal, who grew up in upstate New York. For 5 years in his late teens and early 20s, he hung out at the L&R Speed Shop in Malta, New York. They ran a wrecker service during the week and sold speed parts and went stock car racing on the weekends. Sad bit of racing history is the L&R Speed Shop. It's torn down this week for further development.
Steve Mills, one great crew chief. You see Darrell Waltrip fixing to go a lap down to Mark Martin, the race leader here. DW said, I don't think so. I'm going to race you just a little bit. He'll pick up to the pace. One thing about Darrell, you don't know what he has until somebody puts a little pressure on him.
Well, he heard you were talking about him.
Front straightaway. Martin looks to the inside. No. Nothing there. Now, where's Jeff Gordon?
Right there.
There's the difference in the pit stops. 2 tires versus 4. There's the second place car. Right behind the number 40 of Rich Bickle, the Kendall Pontiac. And here's the race for 6th place with Derek Cope getting underneath Rick Mast. And here comes Ricky Rudd, last year's winner of this race. 12 straight years, Rudd has won at least one Winston Cup race. Hasn't yet won this year, but last year he hadn't before he came here to New Hampshire.
Well, usually as the racetrack gets slick, he gets better and better because he's one of the best slick track drivers I've ever watched, and don't count him out yet.
If he's in the chase late in the day, Rudd will be a contender. 133 laps complete. The race is stabilized after this round of green flag pit stops, so we'll take a quick break and be right back to New Hampshire after this.
It's exactly like the one you drove up here this week.
Yes, it does. No dents in that one either. Sorry, Joe, just kidding. Just kidding. Ricky Rudd closing it down on Dale Earnhardt. We said Rudd would be a factor in this race, and he is proving it.
Yeah, here he comes. You see how low he runs through the corner. He picks up the throttle. He's an ex-motorcycle racer when he was younger, and most of those guys understand traction. Because you know the last thing in a motorcycle you want is the back wheel in front of the front.
Now, also tell me if this is myth or fact. When a driver comes back to a track where he last won, he's apt to be more competitive.
I think momentum means a lot. It always meant a lot to me. If I could go back to a racetrack that I won at, I felt like, well, maybe I had a little something on everybody is the reason I won here. Then I usually got proved wrong by getting beat. But
Ernie, you agree?
I'm not real sure. I don't think, especially when it's happened, like Ricky Rudd came. It's a year from now. You know, it was a year ago that he won the race here. So I do think some of it has a factor, and also like our team. I mean, we knew we had a pretty good setup to come here, and we unloaded off the truck and we were pretty competitive. So the racetrack doesn't really change. Race cars doesn't really change. So usually you should be able to come back and run good if you run good the time before.
Well, Rudd's running well. Here's Earnhardt, and here is John Andretti underneath Jimmy Spencer. Makes the pass.
Dig it now. Keep digging. There's 4.
Oh, Jeremy Mayfield is fun.
Stay low. He's way up high there. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Buddy Barnes telling John Andretti to stay low and run
the yellow
the flag.
is out. Yep.
Caution flag. Caution flag. Keep digging now.
You know, we didn't get any more of these spotter radios. They're not going to need us up here.
Oh, those guys do a great job. I tell you, they get you out of more predicaments. They can see things you can't see from the race car.
I'm kidding, folks. I like it up here.
I tell you, you know, nowadays spotters are actually having 2 jobs. There's actually being 2 spotters. You'll have one spotter that judges what the cars are. Let's take a look at this. We can't really see.
Oops.
Looked like Rick Mast might have gotten the back of Jeremy Mayfield, turned him just there coming out of turn 4.
And Trickle just saved going into Rick Mast. Jeff Bodine made up his lap. He passed Mark Martin 1 lap ago, so he is back in the lead lap.
That's why you never give up. You run every lap like it's the last one.
Ernie, you were saying 2 spotters.
Yeah, see, a lot of times what's happening is you know, you're having one that actually watches ahead and looks at wrecks. You're having one other spotter actually being the eyes in the tower.
Look at this. Everybody coming down pit road.
And it hasn't been that long since they were in. About lap 120 for most of the cars, so they've been out there between 20 and 30 laps.
This is where all the bragging rights start.
Now we get to see which is the quickest of these 3 crews. Top to bottom, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace. And who will take 2, who will get 4? 2 tires for Gordon again.
Wow. It didn't even look like he hardly stopped.
I thought he gassed and goed.
Did he?
No, he was out pretty quick.
Rusty Wallace down pit road. Earnhardt shoves it in gear, gets the spot. Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Morgan Shepherd off pit road. We'll come back and sort out the running order right after this word. We're under caution at New Hampshire. Dale Earnhardt in that incident got into the back of Dick Trickle trying to check up and miss the incident, and the nose of his car is a little bit crushed in. Will that hurt it?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean,
just make it meaner and a little uglier looking.
Yeah. Remember Earnhart when he had the whole front end tore off at Bristol?
The good part is you see the screened area there in the front. That's where the air goes back to the radiator, and that looks pretty good.
So we're set to go back to green. Earnhardt, thanks to a quick pit stop by his crew, and then #1 pit stall that goes to the champion, is out of the pit second and right behind Jeff Gordon. Rusty Wallace is third. Ricky Rudd is fourth. In fifth, that'd be Mark Martin, who was leading when we came to caution. Sixth is Terry Labonte, and seventh is Sterling Marlin. Green flag at lap 148.
Jeff Gordon got a great start there. Look at Rusty Wallace moving by Earnhardt on the bottom side there. You see Hut Strickland and the green car there. Even though the back end of that car is torn up in a wreck earlier in the race, he's running quite well now.
3 laps down, though. Strickland in number 26. Rudd pulls to his bumper. Earnhardt's car is off.
Okay, he's moving over here. He knows he's 3 laps down. You can see him getting out of the way of the lead cars. Well, we have a big mess here.
Jeff Bodine, Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte.
I know it got the fucking toe.
Are 3 of the cars involved. Don't know whose radio that was. Wouldn't tell you if I did. Todd Bodine comes to the pit lane, and Dale Jarrett
it is
may also have been involved in that. We're sorry, folks, but as you well know, tempers flare. Trying to get a lap back is Mike Wallace. It won't happen as Gordon leads them across. As they pull on Todd Bodine's left side. Pretty torn up.
He broke the Hanover bar on Todd Bodine's car.
And look at Jeff Bodine's. That rear spoiler isn't doing much on the X-side Ford.
And he just got back into the lead lap, too.
Yes. We'll come back and sort it out, folks. 149 laps are complete. We are under caution for the 4th time today. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire, the New Hampshire International Speedway, and live Winston Cup racing on TNN. The AutoZone Tech Fact is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts.
You know, one of the most familiar faces in the Winston Cup garage area is that of Earl Parker II with Champion Spark Plugs. Now, if you've ever been at the track and seen the guys practicing, sometimes you'll hear them cut their cars off clean under full power down the back stretch. They bring the car into the garage area, remove the spark plugs, bring them right over to Earl's van. And Earl, what are you looking for when you read these plugs?
Well, basically what we do is we examine the firing end, the end that is actually in the cylinder. We look for coloration and deposits that tell us something about the state of tune of the engine. We look for track factors, weather factors, anything that can affect the state of tune, whether it's too rich, too lean, an oil control problem, ignition energy problem. Any one of about 20 or 25 different things can be spotted.
Well, why do they cut the car clean under full power down the backstretch?
That basically is like taking a snapshot, a Polaroid, if you will, of what's going on in the combustion chamber at wide open throttle. And that's what you're really interested in. When you drive it into the pits and you chug it in, as we say, the air-fuel mixture is not the same. There's so many things that aren't the same, and it basically destroys the plug reading. It destroys the snapshot.
Well, Earl has been doing this for Champion Plugs for about 8 years now. Before that, the man they came to was Earl Parker, his father.
And the amazing thing, Glenn, he does it all visually. No computers and no instruments. He looks at them and he reads those plugs. Here's your Goodyear mid-race recap, brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. 6 leaders, 9 lead changes, average speed, counting the caution laps down to 108 miles an hour. 4 cautions, and here are the leaders. Mark Martin has dominated today.
You want to see how soft the springs are in this 24 car here. When he was rocking it back and forth there, it raised up some 3 inches on the left front spoiler.
With the hood up, Bobby Labonte, and with the deck lid and rear area all apart, Jeff Bodine. As we get set to go back to green at lap 152. Bobby Labonte came in here 9th in the Winston Cup point standings. Jeff Bodine was 18th. Hold it down and let him go. Jeff Gordon brings him across as Labonte and Bodine rejoin the race. Getting his lap back, perhaps. Bobby Hillen on the inside. He does for now.
He does. Look at Earnhardt. Here comes Earnhardt up on the inside.
For the lead.
For the lead.
Rusty will kind of look this over to see which one of these guys. You see him making a move on Gordon on the bottom side. Takes over second place.
Ooh, Ricky Rudd tries to come down, but Rich Bickle is there. Single file. Things just a little tense on these restarts for a couple of laps till it sorts out.
Yeah, there definitely are. Yeah, they're not as tense as they are right after a crash.
But it looks like with the jockeying around out there, because are there times when you feel, well, maybe I can't get them when we're running, but maybe I could just get them on the restart?
Oh, they're definitely, yeah. Man, there sure is Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. You know, that's times of the past, you know. Those guys have raced so much together, and now we're seeing it again, and both black cars and both real good competitors. There goes Rusty. Looks like he's going to get by him this time, I think.
He's going to try, but that 3 car's a rocket ship down the back straightaway. He didn't quite have enough stuff to make the move. Look at Rusty's car in the center part of this corner, though. He may just give him a little nudge, let him know he's there.
I'm sure he probably will.
Rusty took a second turn of the wheel there coming out of the corner.
Rusty's car is really getting through the middle of the corner, and that's what really you have to work on all day here at Loudon, New Hampshire. You know, you got to get through the middle. Everybody has about the same amount of motor and, you know, same amount of forward bite, and, you know, getting into the corner, but getting through the middle, that's the main thing.
Lap 158, though lap 150 is halfway.
And now
it was not a green lap, so at lap 158 they'll pay the $10,000 bonus.
Wow, he got up under Jeff Bodine and really got him loose coming up out of that corner. That's just like lifting the back end up when you get that close on a car. He really got sideways there.
Well, I'm sure Jeff's car's not handling it like it was, you know, because he could stay in front of him.
Okay, here we go for $10,000. This time by whoever leads it. Yeah, Earnhardt needs $10,000 more. But there's a lot of pride at stake too, and some points. Ring the bell for 10 grand.
Rusty's not going to let him have it for free.
Won't be jet fuel for Rusty. It'll be
jet
in
fuel
Earnhardt's
for
pocket.
Earnhardt.
Yeah, right.
He's got a jet too. Yeah.
Rusty doesn't have a jet yet, so that's why he was wanting that $10,000 so he could get him one.
There's an Air Force right there in this film that we're showing you right here. These first 4 or 5 cars that are racing right now, everybody's got an airplane. You must have them anymore to get from point A to point B.
Well, and not just to go to the races, but the demand for personal appearances on these drivers is so great and their scheduling is so tight that oftentimes just can't accommodate the commercial airline schedules. It's a matter of convenience rather than a matter of status.
Look at Rusty Wallace. He's making a move on Earnhardt out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway for the lead.
Now, Jeff Gordon's got it the smart way because Rick Hendricks has airplanes. Jeff doesn't have to have one. There you see Ricky Rudd. You can see him right at the back of the screen. Oh, Rusty got a little loose off of 4. Earnhardt's going to go ahead. I wonder how that happened.
Don't care to guess?
Look at Jeff Gordon now. His car runs well after about 4 or 5 laps. He didn't have the speed right at first. And Ricky Rudd coming along.
Mark Martin still there.
The 10 car is Ricky Rudd. He's even with Rusty Wallace going into turn 3. The 6 car there's Mark Martin, and just behind him, Morgan Shepherd in the 21 car.
The 2 Chevys took off, and they left the 4 Fords to battle among themselves.
Look at Morgan. Whoa.
Mark got in up high.
Morgan got real racy. The Wood Brothers Ford, the Citgo car. In the wall, turn 1, Ward Burton. Just caught it with the left front. The car had already done a complete spin, but he went in pretty hard. And the Hardy Chevrolet will bring out the caution. This will be the 5th caution flag. Comes out of lap 162.
quite a bit of damage. You can see that's mostly tire smoke.
Ward was 29th in the Winston Cup points. Spun the car but couldn't keep it off the wall. Didn't really see what started it.
Mike, on a flat racetrack like this, when a race car goes around, it's got nowhere to go but outside.
Yeah, that's for sure.
When it comes around this way, it's got nowhere to go but on the truck, I believe. But we'll see.
It looks pretty bad, especially the left front.
Well, he drove it in, so at least they think they've got a shot to get him back in the race. Tom from Illinois called in on our 800 number, wanted a Bobby Hamilton out of Nashville, Tennessee. Any relation to Pete Hamilton, who won the Daytona 500 in 1970? No.
No. Two different parts of the country.
Pete Hamilton from Dedham, Mass. And Bobby Hamilton from Nashville, Tennessee. Rusty Wallace will pit. Everyone else stays out at lap 163. We'll let you know what they do to that car when we come back to Loudon. You're watching Winston Cup Racing live on TNN, the Nashville Network. Ward and Jeff Burton have both been on pit road. Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin up top. Here's your Ford Buddy Baker race driving tip. Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
A few weeks ago at Pocono, we saw Jeff Gordon miss a gear on a restart. That moment could have been disastrous, not only for Gordon, but for the rest of the field. If Jeff had panicked, the main rule of thumb when something happens to your car in the heat of battle is to hold your racing line. Don't swerve in the path of oncoming traffic. Another thing you must do is wave and let the competitors know that you have a problem. This allows the others to go by and gives him time to bring his car under control. And also maybe to get in the pit and let them fix the problem and get back into action.
Thanks, buddy. 164 laps complete. Overcast skies here at Loudon, New Hampshire, but temperatures in the mid-70s and a packed house. They're not baking in the grandstand today, and they're not trying to wring out the rainwater either. Let's take a look at the men behind the wall. We'll start this little look with the 16 team of Ted Musgrave, headed up by Jack Roush and Howard Comstock, the crew chief. There are some of the folks that make that car go for driver Ted Musgrave, one of whom Glenn found is a rather interesting story in himself.
Well, he certainly is a really nice guy. This is Bob Riffle, affectionately known as Uncle Fester. Now, Bob has been, he competed against Jack Roush back in their drag racing days, so he's known him a long, long time. You guys have had a heck of a year. Exactly what are your duties on the team, Bob, or should I say Fester?
Well, I'd rather be called Bob. The Fester thing's kind of a joke. Pit crew got the nickname the Addams Family. But I'll tell you what, this pit crew is one of the big reasons that we've been running up front and finishing good. This may be the best pit crew on pit road.
What are your duties?
Pardon?
What are your duties?
On race day, I do the gas mileage.
He's always busy. I see him over here with his calculator, so I can't talk to him all the time. I have to wait till he gets through with his work first. Awfully nice guy. One of the reasons this team has been so successful this year, Ted Musgrave, definitely the most pleasant surprise on the Winston Cup circuit this year, currently in 4th in the points.
Thanks, Glenn. Ted Musgrave running 11th today. Totally nuts for NASCAR, they are. A lot of NASCAR fans here in New England. We'll be right back. Welcome back to TNN's live coverage of the Slick 50 300 here in Loudon, New Hampshire. We're under caution. This is the 5th one of the day for Ward Burton's crash up at turn number 1. With today's Peerless Faucets Innovation in Motion, here's Larry McReynolds. Peerless, get more out of your faucet than just water.
On a Winston Cup race car, this track bar or panhard bar is a very valuable adjustment tool that teams use to adjust the handling on their race car. Up till about the middle of last year, teams really only used this tool during practice because it involved pulling a bolt out, moving the track bar, putting the bolt back in. You can raise this track bar and actually loosen the race car up, make it turn a little better. You can lower it and actually tighten the car up, tie the rear end of the car down. About the middle of last year, teams put this adjustment bolt in here.
and adjust it just as we adjust wedge on a pit stop. So now on a pit stop, you might see a crew member run this 1/2-inch drive ratchet down in this hole, and they'll go this way if they want to tighten the car up. They may back it off if they want to try to loosen the car up. This is just another adjustment tool that Winston Cup teams have learned to use on pit stops to make their performance even better.
And there's Larry McReynolds at work. Yesterday he was the weatherman on our Saturday telecast.
Well said by a man that ought to know.
Yes, one of racing's top crew chiefs.
He watches the Weather Channel more than baseball.
And he tapes it. He watches the reruns too.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Mike called him? Larry McReynolds.
Well, he was yesterday. Let's go back to racing. The front 5 without Rusty Wallace, who made a pit stop under that caution period. And Wallace will restart 19th.
Maybe Rusty had to pit and cool down or something.
Well, it does get him away from Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, who've been battling pretty hard.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why he stopped.
I don't either.
Here's Gordon for the lead. I'm in there. I'm out of there. Randy, why did Rusty pit?
Well, I wouldn't call it severe left front damage, but he definitely had some damage. It could have caused the tire rub. They had to come in and change the tires. Whether he got it from making contact with Earnhardt or some other car, it came from that incident when he lost the lead.
Thanks, Randy. Boy, a lot of tension on these restarts.
Well, Burton put down a little bit of oil in his oil dry on this racetrack. You can see Earnhardt go sideways in the middle of turn 3. There's quite a row of, you probably see it right there on the outside. You can see the oil dry through that corner. Pretty slick through there.
Earnhardt's car is really getting through the middle there pretty good too.
It's a lot better than it was on the last restart.
Right.
Ricky Rudd in 3rd, Chevy Ford.
And Jeff didn't go good on the last restart, so maybe if he stays in the lead for 4 or 5 laps, then he's going to be able to be all right.
3 wide back straightaway behind the leaders as they work past Elton Sawyer. There's that mess.
Wow.
Boy, Sterling Marlin made the big move and got underneath Terry Labonte and Sawyer, whose Hooters Ford has run up the racetrack.
That was some smart moves on everybody's part there to kind of give way a little bit, but there was some oil dry on the outside. Look at Ricky Rudd. He gets by Dale Earnhardt now. Moves into 2nd place.
I hated to pick him to win 2 years in a row and be right 2 years in a row.
Oh, wait a minute. No, you can't do that.
I can't hedge my bet?
No.
Okay.
Where you start in the canoe, you finish in the canoe.
Well, my canoe sprung a leak, so I want another pick. 172 of 300 laps. Jeff Gordon the leader. Ricky Rudd in 2nd. Dale Earnhardt in 3rd. Chevy. In 4th, Morgan Shepherd's Ford. 5th, the Ford of Mark Martin. In 6th, the Ford of Derek Cope. And 7th, the Chevrolet of Sterling Marlin. There's that battle. From 5th place, Mark Martin, you're looking ahead at Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford of the Wood Brothers.
Car looks awful stable off the corner there. Morgan Shepherd looks really good. He's right up front. He's run a good conservative race all day today.
Just 3 cars ahead of them. I want to give a call to Todd Bodine in the Lowe's Ford. What an awful week. They went out to qualify, and Todd said the car just wouldn't run. And Brett Bodine, and Brett said the car just wouldn't pull, and it turned out the throttle wasn't opening all the way. Then they got to run 2nd round qualifying, and he says the car just, something's holding it back. Wasn't any grease in the transmission, they found. I mean, just small things, but he ended up with a provisional start, and he's a lap down, but he is the first car 1 lap down in 23rd spot.
I was just watching Ricky Craven had to make him stop and go just then. I don't know why, but I think you know.
Ricky Craven pitted early, but then didn't restart at the end of the longest line. He must have pitted with the lead lap cars. Craven is 2 laps down, so he will get a stop and go. And the winner of yesterday's Auto Palace 150 will backslide a bit in the field. Up front, Ricky Rudd puts the pressure on Jeff Gordon. Let's go down to Dale Earnhardt's pit and find out why Earnhardt has not been challenging Gordon for the lead off this restart.
Standing by with Andy Petrie. Andy, we see some nose damage on the car. First of all, what happened, and is it affecting the way the car's driving now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it hurt us any. It's closed up a little bit of the air opening we've got, but we had too much to start with, so that didn't really hurt.
All right, is the car pretty much his liking? You told me this morning you thought you were really good. I know you've adjusted a little on it.
Well, you know, our long two days really been in the long run. We hadn't been that good right off the bat on a short run, so I didn't expect we could stay up front right there. He'll stay in rhythm here. I think he can catch him back.
Well, if anybody can keep it in rhythm, that man can.
There's Earnhardt, 3 car lengths back of Ricky Rudd. And Jeff Gordon, the leader. In the point standings, they are 9 points apart. Morgan Shepherd, perennial top 5-point finisher, 10th in the points coming into this race.
Morgan Shepherd moved into 4th place, and just behind him, your early race leader, Mark Martin, is following him around. Morgan Shepherd is really running well today.
No surprise, he's a good slick track driver as well.
Indeed. You go to Martinsville, that's one of the cars you always have to worry about, because he really knows how to get on that throttle and not break the car loose.
I'll tell you what, Morgan is one of the guys that just seems to always finish in the top 10 in points. You know, he's there every day. He very seldom wrecks. He's real consistent. You know, I mean, Morgan's not a young whippersnapper. He's been here for a long time and a lot of experience.
That's what Darrell Waltrip said yesterday. He has a bunch of experience. That's it.
Experience.
53 years old, Morgan Shepherd. 179 laps. Jeff Gordon, who is but 23 years old, continues to hold sway here at New Hampshire. We'll be right back. NASCAR fans can make cruise history by cruising from Cape Canaveral to the Bahamas December 4 to 7 on the Big Red Boat. TNN and the Winston Cup Racing Wives Auxiliary will welcome Winston Cup drivers, including Kyle Petty, Todd Bodine, Ted Musgrave, Steve Chisholm, and that old sea salt, Ernie Irvan. And the proceeds will benefit the Winston Cup Drivers Wives Auxiliary. That'll be Ernie who will be skiing off the back of the boat. Call 1-800-972-2359 for more information. He cruised with Buddy and I and Rusty Wallace one year, and there's places we can't go back to.
Well, yeah. Carlos and Charlie's, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
In Cozumel.
Yeah. I hit my head real hard, but I remember a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. We have videotape.
Oh.
We got up the next morning, and here's this tape in Ernie's camera, and it was the whole party, and we're all watching it. Nobody knew who shot it until we realized you were the only guy that weren't in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we had another problem.
We had several. We weren't handling too well, folks.
Yeah.
Here's Rusty Wallace, who restarted 19th, and now he's challenging Joe Nemechek for 12th. Hey, those cruises are a lot of fun, folks. They trail the leaders by 9.8 seconds. Rick Mast right in the middle of that battle. And Sterling Marlin, the Winston Cup point leader, right back in the chase. He's in 7th place, just ahead of Terry Labonte.
You know, he wasn't running all that good at the beginning of the race. I mean, you know, he was getting past and, you know, just wasn't all that well. Now they must have made some adjustments, and Sterling's car is fairly good.
Mike, you want to know why this car really works as well as it does? Watch the back window down the straightaway. It's got a tremendous amount of down pressure on it.
Yes, it does, buddy.
I don't think that's what we're supposed to notice, buddy.
Oh, well. Hood smooth, back window smooth, driver smooth. They're going.
You know, going on that big red boat, that's going to be a fun thing for the kids. That's what it's mainly all about.
Well, everybody behaves like kids on those cruises.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically we're going to take our families and do some autographs and some other things, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Should be. 111 laps to go here at Loudon, New Hampshire. Our Goodyear in-car camera showing you these pictures from Sterling Marlin's Kodak Chevrolet.
I heard Tony Glover say 30-90, I think. So
that's 30.90 seconds the last lap.
Right. And the pole today was like a 29.54, I think. That was Mark Martin. So you know, about a second and a half slower right now.
Had two great races here yesterday. Had some 800 calls about those. In the Auto Palace 150 for Busch Grand Nationals was won by Ricky Craven, took the lead from Kelly Moore with just a couple of laps to go. And in the 40-lap modified shootout, what a thriller. Stephen Park beating Tony Hirschman and Jan Leedy in that 40 green flag lap shootout. Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running. 190 laps on the board.
You know, that window is caving in pretty good, isn't it, buddy?
I didn't notice that time.
Yeah, we don't. And here comes the 33 car.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the 33 car? One of his flaps come up on his on the cowl deal.
A little difference in air pressure suddenly there when he got right into the draft of Sterling Marlin. See if we see that again. Oh, there it is, just fluttering a little bit. Right cowl flap, just at the base of the windshield.
You can notice a lot of stuff up there.
Look at that crowd. You talk about race fans. Now, these people up here, they get a good dose of it from one of the greatest hidden treasures they have in New England. That's the modified division around here. Oh, it's wonderful.
Was that a great race? Jan Leedy bump drafting Steve Park all down the back straightaway, not once but several times, trying to get away from the field. What a great show.
It is a great race.
And you will see that race played on TNN. Watch your local listings because we will have a couple of replays for the modified shootout and the Busch Grand National race that was rain delayed. We didn't get to show you the finish live because it was nearly dark by the time we got that in yesterday late afternoon, but it will be on TNN. Be sure to catch it if you can.
I think it was the Busch Grand National North race.
Yes, excuse me. Yep. Quite a good show.
That's Ted Musgraves there in the blue car, just following Robert Presley, number 33 car. They've run very well all day today, just hadn't got to the front where they can really make a charge.
To answer Wally's question from Canada, Ted Musgrave is looking for his first Winston Cup win. He has not yet been to victory lane. He's been close, and he's got quite a string of top 5 finishes and sits 4th in the points, as Glenn told you.
Kyle Petty just retired his car, it looks like.
Coors Light Pontiac to the garage. Let's visit with Buddy Barnes up on the roof to our right. There in the box is John Andretti's car, that purple and orange 37, and you see in the main picture Buddy looking down in turn 1 where his car is. And now he shifts his gauge looking ahead to the next corner where John is headed, trying to stay one jump ahead of what the driver's able to see.
See, they only have one spotter up there right now. And a lot of teams are starting to get 2 spotters, you know, like I was saying. So that way he actually just goes about when cars are trying to pass or you're trying to pass, telling you clear or if somebody's under you. But Buddy basically is trying to also watch ahead, make sure about wrecks.
Now that's just to our right. Now he's watching his own car closely because of the proximity there to Bobby Hamilton and that pack of cars he's coming up on. So rather than looking way ahead down the racetrack, he's keeping track of that battle, trying to pick out a lane for John to go to, high or low, that will be to advantage. We'll get back with Buddy in a bit here. 197 laps complete, coming up on 100 to go. Jeff Gordon continues to lead Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, and Mark Martin. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire. August 24th through September 4th is the TNN Salute to Motorsports. TNN gives you more live racing than any other network. You'll see lots of great examples of it. Driver appearances, show cars, and a lot of neat stuff like the new Brickyard Pace Truck. First time a pickup truck has paced a NASCAR race in our recollection. And a lot of new neat displays from the manufacturers, the sponsors, and the race teams. It's all part of what's going on at Opryland this summer. For more information, you can call Monday through Friday, 615-889-6611. You'll see drivers throughout the theme park and exhibits and appearances and merchandise trailers and everything. The TNN Salute to Motorsports, August 24th through September 4th at Opryland. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Rusty Wallace made a pit stop during that last caution, and he's gaining about 0.2 of a lap on Jeff Gordon, who is trying to move away from the whole rest of the field. Let's go to his pit.
Well, Ray Evernham's sitting here watching his driver. Is he just cruising right now, Ray?
Well, he's running as smooth as he can without using the car up. You know, when you try and go faster, sometimes you go slower. So he's just being real careful. There's a long way to go, and we just hope we don't need any more caution. So we're just going to wait and see what happens.
Can you make the car any better at all for him?
He hasn't said anything. As we get closer to a pit stop, right now we're the same as everybody else. We're a little bit tight in the middle, a little bit loose off.
Okay, yeah, probably so. Okay, Glenn.
Well, I'm in Ricky Rudd's pit, and before the race this morning, Billy Engel told me that they were guessing that they were pretty much going to put the car like it was last year when they won. Have you had to change it much, Billy?
Well, we've changed a little bit, Glenn. Not too drastic of a change. Tide Ford seems to be working pretty good right now. We just don't have anything at all for that 24. That thing has got some awesome traction up off the corner, and a Randy Dorton motor is pulling it pretty hard.
Is there anything else that you can do to the car?
Yeah, but I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Well, you know, they won here last year, and that's always plenty of incentive to come back and do well. But if you want to see the real incentive that this crew has, it's this picture of Ricky Rudd right here. That's 20 years ago. I'm sure glad he found his way to a barber.
That's out of the one of the racing papers this week. My God. Let's watch Ricky's car closely and just see as he gets through the middle of the corner how much the body moves over the tires. Not very much on Rudd's car. Big market difference when we show you Jeff Gordon's car here in a minute. Right now, Bill Elliott battles John Andretti and Joe Nemechek, 13th place. Right here, Nemechek holds that position behind Rick Mast. Nemechek at the Burger King 87. Well, I said on race day this morning I predicted a Burger battle. I didn't know it'd be for 13th spot, but that's how it is right now.
You see Bobby Hamilton there making a move on Andretti.
And there's where some of the contenders are behind Jeff Gordon.
I think the fastest car on the racetrack is being overlooked right now. Morgan Shepherd is really getting around this racetrack. We'll get to him after we watch this battle right now between Hamilton and Andretti off the corner.
I think Shepherd's one of them. I think Rusty Wallace is the other.
Yeah, definitely. Rusty's running real good, too.
Here's Shepherd trying to get past Ricky Craven. Remember, Craven is 5 laps down in the Kodiak Chevy after winning here yesterday.
And you look at the back of Morgan's car, you know, it transfers some weight, but when we see Jeff Gordon's car, you're going to see that it looks like it's popping a wheelie going down the straightaway.
Looks like one of the Gap and Roush drag cars from the 60s.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, so there's Morgan Shepherd, who currently runs in 4th place. And here's Rusty Wallace moving on up. He's in 10th place, right behind Ted Musgrave. Make that 11th place behind Musgrave and Robert Presley. These cars trail the leader by 12.5 seconds.
That's pretty impressive right there. He has worked his way from the tail end of this bunch all the way up to the 10th place now. And it looks like that car is really hooked up for Rusty. He'll be back up there to visit his dear friend, Mr. Earnhardt, before too long.
If they could only see the smirk on your face when you say that. They got a little close earlier, folks. 210 laps complete. Jeff Gordon leads. Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd. In 5th, Mark Martin. In 6th is Derek Cope. And 7th, Terry Labonte. At Loudon, New Hampshire, Jeff Gordon has a 2.5 second lead, or rather a 3.2 second lead. Dale Earnhardt's moved into 2nd. From Dave Marcus's car. Ricky Rudd now 3rd. Now we'll show you what we were talking about with Jeff Gordon and the weight transfer on that car front to back.
Okay, we're going to have to really look at it off of turn 2, but you can really see the thing actually come off the corner, and it like has a lot of weight transfer to the rear end. The back end goes down. Well, when that's happening, usually, you know, the spoiler goes down and stuff. But let's watch it off of turn 2.
Look at the gap in the left front fender between the top of the tire.
Mike, the whole car is really soft. You can see the car down the straightaway just kind of transferring the weight evenly front to rear. I mean, it's really sprung light. But these boys will try things, and it's a young team, and they don't act like they know everything. So they work together, and they really make this race car good.
There is a school of thought that says soft springs and stiff sway bars at both ends. One way to get around a flat racetrack.
Well, I tell you, those are one of the guys that are, NASCAR legalized a rear sway bar now as of last year. And these are one of the guys that actually run it a lot. They run it almost every time. You know, like with our 28 car, we haven't really been able to make it work. And, this kind of tells us a little bit, maybe, different ways you have to do things, with the rear sway bar.
Here's the running order. Top 5 with Earnhardt having moved into 2nd. Let's check that. Ricky Rudd is the 3rd place car, then Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin. Here's Rusty Wallace shown in 9th, where he has passed Ted Musgrave and tries to pull down on Sterling Marlin. 84 laps to go Here's the interval from first back to second. It's 4.3 seconds. Ricky Rudd in third, just behind. Earnhardt got that bloodied nose on his black Chevrolet when he got into the back of Dick Trickle after the car in front of Trickle spun somebody around. Jeremy Mayfield.
Jeremy Mayfield spun.
Bill Elliott battles Bobby Hamilton. Elton Sawyer lap down, and John Andretti.
See Michael Waltrip in the 30 car there, right at the back of those 5 cars rather.
Michael Waltrip moves up and under Sawyer, who's running full time on both the Busch and Winston Cup circuits in the second half of this year. His Ford Credit Ford. We got a lot of race fans in Connecticut. Folks tend to discount Connecticut. It's so small and so away from the South as a racing state. But I bet you Wednesday afternoon at Monaco Ford in Glastonbury, we'll have a couple thousand people there. See the race cars and visit with Elton. Now here's Michael underneath, getting past the Hooters Ford. Okay, a couple hundred people. Dale Earnhardt created his own traffic jam here night before last. Our producer, Pam Miller, got into what she said was one of her worst fears. She got into the line of traffic for an Earnhardt appearance. It was almost like trying to leave the racetrack. Cars parked everywhere, 9 lines of traffic, all trying to get into this one dealership where Dale was signing autographs for 2 hours here in Laconia.
And I mean, he draws the people. You know, he's a 7-time champion, and you know, he's earned all that respect. And
boy, now just keep plugging.
He's not
starting to gain on some guys ahead of you. Just follow Rusty up there and catch him. You can do it.
He's not one of the guys that, you know, you don't very seldom see him. You know,
nope.
I live in the same town he does, and you know, kind of Mooresville. I'm there all the time. We never see Dale Earnhardt going to lunch or something like that. He stays at his farm.
I see him all the time. He comes up behind me and gives me a good rap from behind.
On the street.
In your street car, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I told him, I said, this isn't a rental car, you know. He said, I got plenty of them right up the road.
Yeah, he'll sell you one.
3090, 3090.
3090. See, Sterling's still running a 3090.
All right, now both you guys, tell me something. Do you like having a spotter or a crew chief who's a coach like that, an attaboy, you can do it kind of guy, or would you rather just get the facts and work on it yourself?
Mike, I'll tell you the honest truth. When you have a guy pulling for you like that,